Hi, my name is Patty Stoddard, and I was diagnosed with a precancer of LCIS back in March of 2013. So I felt, after I heard the word precancer, I felt really blessed to understand that it was something that was caught early, but if not caught, it could eventually lead to invasive breast cancer. So there was really no other option but to go ahead, and what was recommended because of family history was to go ahead and have a double mastectomy just to be safe. And I thought, well, okay, we can do this. Let's just go ahead with the double mastectomy and go ahead and knock this out before it does get to an invasive stage where I would really have issues. You know, when the doctor had explained, and it was something I was very unfamiliar with, and the doctor explained that with LCIS, it's something that normally is found by accident. So it is not something that shows up when you go in for your, for your breast examinations, for any of the other tests that they would do, a normal mammogram. It's something that truly normally is indicated when they go to do a biopsy and they just happen by chance to pick up a cell that may be beneath it or beside it, but the needle happens to pick it up. And once they pick that up and they explain to you, this usually moves bilaterally, and it does go undetected for years until usually it's too late, that the best prognosis would be, let's go ahead and remove it. And with that said, and I think it's funny how life works, because at the same time my daughter was having her first child, and I'm thinking, you know what, I don't want to take chances. I may be up in age, but I certainly want to be around for a long time to live, because there was a lot that life had to offer. So I made the choice to go ahead and do the double mastectomy, again due to family history and due to the just the option that it is not a precancer that can be easily monitored. I felt it best to go ahead and just handle it, and I don't regret it. It was something that I've always been dedicated to because of family history, that I was very vigilant when it came to every year having my annual exam. And it was a good thing, because through the years I've had several biopsies and everything always turned out to be fluid. This one particular one was also something that was fluid, but again, they had picked up the LCIS in the background. Glad that I was vigilant, and glad that I had always made my daughters adhere to the same thing. Speaking of daughters, I have both of my daughters. I have two daughters that were diagnosed with breast cancer this year, just 10 days apart. But the good news is, what I'm really grateful for, is that they did pick up from me that you've got to be vigilant and go every year for your checkups. So both of them were picked up early, and I'm very grateful for that. So Sherry is here today. She's going to be interviewed later, and Brandy wasn't able to make it today, but I do have the two girls that were diagnosed just 10 days apart. Really kind of a strange thing. But we were fortunate enough that someone who knew me and realized that myself plus both of my daughters had gone through the breast cancer and treatment suggested that we join the Unite group. And I got to tell you, going through the Unite group alone and meeting wonderful women is just a privilege to begin with, but going through it with your daughters is on a whole different level, because I think it's allowed us to have conversations as just mother and daughter, now not only about the cancer, but just about life in general, that we probably would not have had we not gone through this experience, where you really do a lot of soul searching and really look at yourself and where you've been and where you're going. So I can't think of a better experience and really gift to have had the privilege to do this with both of my girls.
I couldn't agree more. So I think, as my mother was saying, that it's just been an absolute privilege to be able to be a part of this group, and I feel I've always felt really close to my family, to my mom and my sister, and to be able to go through this with them has, not only deepened our relationships, but, also just allowed us to, have some fun with the circumstances that we've been dealt with. And, it could be a difficult situation on our own, but, I've been truly blessed to have my mom, who's already been through it, to be able to, help guide me, and reassure me throughout the entire process, and have my sister there to go through it with me as some comic relief.
So, you know, I went down this whole thing with the surgery, having the removal, and then having the reconstruction. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm so strong, I'm so good, and I'm really going through this without any issues whatsoever. And then I'll never forget the day that I got the call, probably 7 days after the reconstruction. And that was with the bad news that they did not have clean margins and I needed to come back. And it come to find out they had actually found a lot of LCIS, substantial amounts in both breasts. So at that point, I'll never forget, I just kind of hung the phone up and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is much bigger than what I thought. My life has changed. And for some reason, I felt just kind of disposable all of a sudden, very, very, very vulnerable. And that was the first time I cried. And I was crying and throwing things and just having a whole hissy fit. And then went through and had the second surgery and came out of it and just, you know, chin up and let me just move myself forward. But I think it was really a turning point for me at that point to feel so vulnerable over something that was, again, pre-cancer. And I kept thinking, wow, what is wrong with you? I mean, there are women that go through a lot more than that. But it was traumatic because, again, you're losing what I thought was your femininity and losing your strength, that I was just weaker. So that was a really big deal. But I got to tell you, if it wasn't for the team of people that took care of me, Dr. Lagarde was my doctor that had first found everything and did the removal. And then I had a great experience down on St. Charles Avenue at the St. Charles Reconstructive Breast Restoration Center. And there, Dr. Delacroix was the one that did the surgery the first time, and then he was out on vacation, God bless him, and I had Dr. Sullivan come in to do the second surgery. But absolutely a fabulous team. They've taken great care of me, and that really did help ease a lot of the strain and the stress that I was going through, knowing that there was such a great team behind them. On the other hand, I had tremendous family support. I had my daughters, Brandy and Sherry. I had my husband, John, who is my rock, who just let me throw things and scream that day. And, you know, and most of the time kind of sat in the background going, how do I help? How do I help? And I wasn't quite sure how to express to him what I needed, but he was a rock and he was extremely patient. I have my crazy sisters because I'm one of 5. And, you know, I knew at the hospital the day after when they said, we're going to want you to get up, I knew exactly who to call. It was my sister, Jeannie. And I said, Jeannie, I need somebody who's not going to put up with any of my mess and tell me to get my butt up. And she came over and said, get your butt up. And it was those kind of people that really got me through a lot. My work family at Home Depot, I could not have asked for more. So I feel extremely blessed. So like I said, you know, they always tell you you don't know what you don't know. And I had never been part of a I don't know what you call it. It's not a typical women's group. It's the Unite group. And it really does bring together a lot of women that kind of feel like they've been broken and they've been dealt a bad hand. And it brings all of us together to kind of really see our true strength. And that's, I guess, the one message I'd want to say. It doesn't matter if you have precancer or cancer. First of all, be vigilant and make sure that you are going for your regular checkups. But the other thing is when you join a group like this, it really does help you redefine what you think strength is. And what I thought was strength before is not at all what strength really is. And Unite really helped me just come along and identify that self, and not only identify it, but redefine that in myself. So I'm Patty Stoddard, and that's my story.